Okay, welcome back, class. This will be part 2 of Lab 3. We're beginning at exercise 3.5, configuring forwarding and conditional forwarding zones. So what does that mean? Conditional forwarding expands on the idea of forwarding, where you forward those queries to other DNS servers based on the DNS domain names in the query. For example, when you use a VPN tunnel to connect to a partner organization, you can forward those requests to the partner's DNS when you try to access a network resource on the partner network, because your DNS doesn't know anything about that partner's organization. So if you can do conditional forwarding, you can get the information from that other business partner or organization. So let's move on. We're on server 1. I can see that here on my DNS Manager console. It says server 1. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to right click server 1 and I'm going to go to properties. So here are our properties. So I'm going to select the forwarders tab and I'm going to click edit. So in my forwarders dialog box, I'm going to type in 172.16.0.10 and press enter. So you can see it's attempting to resolve, and I'm going to click OK. Take a screenshot. It should look just like that. Okay, that screenshot goes in step number 6 right there. Now, moving on to, we're going to go ahead and close our properties. Moving on, we're going to go ahead and work on configuring conditional forwarders. On our server 1, in our DNS Manager console, we're going to create a primary forward lookup zone called lucernpublishing.com. So what we're going to do, okay, so here's a question for you. This will be our question number 4. How do you forward queries to a specific DNS server for a specified domain? Well, what's the exercise that we're doing? Conditional forwarders. You forward queries to a specific DNS server for a specified domain by using conditional forwarders. It's the whole exercise. So we're currently on server 1. We're going to jump over to DC1, lun-DC1. Switching servers again. See this right here, conditional forwarders? I'm going to right click on it and say new conditional forwarder. And in there, I'm going to type in Lucerne Publishing.com. Let's make sure I got that typed correctly. I believe I did. Okay, so we need to give an IP address. Well, that IP address is going to be 172.16.0.40. And we press enter and ignore any error that appears. Now remember previous exercise when we were working on server 1 and we let it get an IP address by DHCP, and then we set a static IP address of 160. When we jump back over to server 1, we're going to double check and make sure that we reset it back to the .40 if we didn't. Okay, so I'm going to click OK. I've got my conditional forwarding. So take a screenshot, paste it into step number 6. Exercise 3.5 is done. Now, exercise 3.6, configuring zone transfers. Understand that zone transfers are the complete or partial transfer of DNS data from a zone on a DNS server to another DNS server. That's a zone transfer, one to another. After the initial zone transfer, the primary DNS server notifies the secondary DNS server that changes have occurred. The secondary servers then request for the records to be transferred, and the changes are then replicated to all the secondary DNS servers using zone transfers. Happens automatically. Many times. So on DC1, select datum.com, choose Properties. Select the Zone Transfers tab. Number of different settings here. Select Allow Zone Transfers. Then click only to the following servers. So now here, important point. If there are multiple servers listed as hosting the datum.com DNS, they will already be listed as named servers, and they could be selected by using the second radio button, only the servers listed on the Name Servers tab. In this case, we're going to manually enter the server IP address. We're going to click back up a second. Let's back up a second here. Okay, so we're going to click Notify. Sorry about that. We don't click Edit. If you were on the Edit screen, back out of that. We click Notify. And right here, we're going to type in 172.16.0.40 and press Enter. Take a screenshot and paste it into step number 5 and click OK. Go ahead and click OK on your properties. Now, let's go ahead. We're going to be continuing on DC1, but let's jump over to Server 1 just for a moment to double check our IP configuration from that one previous lab. I'm going to go to Local Server. And okay, it is set to 172.16.0.40. If your IP address is not, go ahead and correct that now. Okay, jumping back to DC1, we're going to do exercise 3.7, Managing DNS Resource Records. So, resource records, there's many different types. Pointers, MX, CNAMEs, A records, Quad A records, NS records, SOA records, many different types, all with different functionality. So if we select the datum.com, or I take that back, we select the contoso.com forward-looking zone, which records are shown? Well, this shows the SOA record, Start of Authority, and the NS record. But what types of records are located in a forward lookup zone? Well, there can be many different records, right? So here's your common ones. A record, Quad A record, MX record, CNAME, SOA, NS, and there's one other one, SRV, that's not listed here. That's your most common. A record, Quad A record, MX, NS, SOA, CNAME, and SRV. Okay, we're going to right click on the contoso.com domain and go to Properties. And we can see the properties that are shown here. Which records can be configured in the Properties dialog box? This is very important. Which records? Take a look at what's already there. Name server, Start of Authority. There's only 2 records that you can configure from in the properties. The NS name server record and the SOA Start of Authority record. With the Start of Authority record, or Start of Authority tab selected. Notice there's a number of different settings that are shown here. By default, what is the minimum TTL for start authority records? Minimum default TTL. What does it say? One what? Don't just put in one. Give me a time period. Okay, that's question 7. Go ahead and click OK to close the properties. Let's right-click in our Contoso. You can right-click in the white space over here, or you can right-click on the Contoso name and select New Host A or Quad A. Now, from when we first set up our reverse lookup zone for 172.16.0, one exercise, we told it to create an associated pointer. I want you to uncheck this for now. And what I would like you to type in is PC1. And you're going to add the IP address of 172.16.0.201 and click Add Host. The host record was successfully created. We're going to go ahead and create another new record, and we're going to call it PC2. And for the IP address, we're going to use 172.16.0.202, but this time put a check mark beside Create Associated Pointer Record. And click Add Host, click OK, and click Done. Take a screenshot showing those A records being created. That will get pasted into step number 9. Once you've done that, expand the reverse lookup zone for 172.16.0 or 0.16.172. Notice here's our records. I'm going to refresh it just to make sure they're all the way. Didn't we create a record for PC1? Remember, we unchecked to create the reverse lookup. So what records, here's question number 8, what records are kept in the reverse lookup zone? Well, I can see the type of records listed right there. They're in parentheses, right? What's the first one? SOA. What's the second one? NS, name server. And what are the rest of the records? Pointers, PTRs. That's what they are. SOA, NS, and PTR. I'm going to right-click on 0.16.172.in.adder or -adder.arpa, and I'm going to choose New Pointer. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to type in, I'm going to put my cursor at the end, and I'm going to type in 201. And for the host name, I'm going to type in PC1. And I'm going to click OK. Okay, so we can see our two records there now, right? Here's our PC1, here's our PC2, 201 and 202. What's the difference? How does the data different? When we created the A record and automatically created the pointer record, it referenced the fully qualified domain name. PC2 points to pc2.contoso.com. PC1 simply is just PC1. That's your question number 9. So let's double click on PC1, the 172.16.0.201 record, and I'm going to modify the host name. Now, if you remember, these were created in a Contoso domain. So I'm going to type in contoso.com. And I put a period at the end. That means that it's the end of the name. In other words, here's a question for you. What does that period on the end signify? You probably got this from your reading. Yes, it indicates the root. When placed at the end, it signifies that the name is fully qualified. In other words, if I didn't put the dot on the end of it, we would expect that not to be the fully qualified name, that there was something missing. The dot on the end says, yes, it's fully qualified. I'm going to click OK. And there, because if you notice, see right here, there's a dot, there's another dot. Every one of these has a dot on the end of them. Didn't notice that before, did you? Okay, take a screenshot. And we're just about done. So that goes in step number 14. I'm going to right click on Contoso, and I'm going to say New A Record, and I'm going to type in PC3. And for the IP address, I'm going to type in 172.16.0.203. And I'm going to click Add Host, click OK, and I'm done. Okay, so I'm going to come back up here, see my record, there it is. We're going to right-click Contoso one more time, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to select New CNAME. A CNAME is also called an alias. And in there, in the alias name, I'm going to type in www. See it filled in down below under fully qualified domain name? So that's what's going to be created. And I'm going to type in pc3.contoso.com. So, question number 11. What is the fully qualified domain name? What it's going to create is this right here, www.contoso.com. But it's going to point to this computer. So if we have a web server and our website is www.contoso.com, this would be the computer that site's being hosted on. So what is the fully qualified domain name? It's right there, www.contoso.com. Click OK. And we can see it right here. See that information right there. I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to click Start. I'm going to type CMD, press Enter, and let's do an NS lookup. I'm going to type in NS lookup pc3.contoso.com. Press Enter. And there is my record. What address was returned? Well, it's right there on our screen. You should get the same thing. Let's see if we can work in reverse. NS lookup 172.16.0.203. Press Enter. There's our name, pc3.contoso.com. Does it work for the www? Let's try that. NS lookup www.contoso.com and press Enter. Yes, it does. Look, the name, the address, and the alias was returned. Let's go ahead and click back on your DNS manager. And we're going to right click on Contoso and we're going to say New MX record. MX is Mail Exchanger. And in there I'm going to type in PC2. And in the fully qualified domain name of mail server, I'm going to type in contoso.com. Here's your next question before we do anything else. For question number 15, What is the default mail server priority? Right here. You can have multiple MX records pointing to the same resource from an external IP, and you can give them different priorities. In other words, which one should we try to contact first? If that's not available, then it goes to the one with the next priority. We're going to go ahead and we're going to click OK. Oh, by the way, your answer is 10. Click OK. I'm going to right-click the PC1 host record, and I'm going to choose Properties. What fields are displayed? Well, there's 3 fields here, right? Your 3 fields that are displayed for question number 16 are host, FQDN, and IP address. This checkbox is not a field. These are your fields, these 3. Go ahead and click OK once you've answered the question. In your DNS Manager console, go up to the top to View and select Advanced. You notice now Cached Lookups appears here, but if we right-click that same record and go back to Properties, our view has changed. These 3 fields still appear, but what new field now appears? The new field that appears is Time to Live, the TTL. That's your answer to question 17. We're going to go ahead, and you'll notice this is days, hours, minutes, seconds. What I'd like you to do is change the TTL to 15 minutes. Go ahead and take a screenshot. It should look just like that. And go ahead and click OK. Now, I'm going to allow you each to go ahead and complete the lab challenge on your own. We're already up to 22 minutes on this video, and I don't want to go any longer on it. Individually, you can complete the lab challenge and submit that when you upload your worksheet to Dropbox. Thank you for watching this video.